Hello, this is Dave from JD CycleWorks. Today I'm going to show you how I'm modifying a transmission top cover so we can vent the air cleaner bypass into the transmission and have the vent from the transmission out to the atmosphere into a check valve. This is the cover I already modified. You can see here I have a 1/4 inch 45-degree fitting tapped into here. This is where the air filter breathing system is going to go into. And underneath I modified the gasket. So you can see how I created like a little baffle there. So everything that comes out of the top of the engine is going to come in here, breathe in here, drain back into the engine, and get recycled. And then here is another chamber here where the oil pan is going to have its vent, where it can vent up through here, have a little baffle, and come out to the atmosphere. And I'm going to put a hose on here with a check valve to help keep the engine breathing properly. So this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and we're going to do it on this particular bike, and I will show you more on the bike when we're installing it. Well, the reason why is a lot of times you'll have to set up a breathing system on your air filter and you will have some oil breathe out of it, and that'll create a little mess on the ground. So this way all that can go right back and get recycled, and this here creates another chamber to help keep some of that oil mist from coming out and going onto the ground. This is very similar to how T-Man does his, which is pretty smart how he came up with a good idea how to do his transmission venting system. And I use it on a bike and it works very well. So I said, well, you know what? Let's come up with something simpler to do that'll work just as good and be something that the people at home can do, and I can even do here for people without having to spend a substantial amount of money for some pretty parts. Essentially what we're buying is we're buying a couple fittings, we're buying a little plastic check valve, we're buying some rubber hose. We're modifying the air filter so it can breathe outside into the atmosphere or into this hose here instead of breathing back into the engine. This is the gasket that comes with the cover. I simply just modified it. It's not very pretty. It's a little crude, but it doesn't have to be pretty. You're not going to see it. Like I said, it does create a wall in there. So as the mist is coming in here, it's not going to be misting down into the oil pan vent area, and hopefully that'll help keep everything recirculating properly. Okay, so now we're going to install this cover on this transmission. I want to show you something. This is the inside of your transmission. If you look down here, this hole down here, that goes back down in the cam chest. That's a vent from there and also a drain back. And over here, this hole comes out of your oil pan. So that is why I wanted to make this gasket. So it kind of creates a baffle. This way the oils can drain back from the cylinder head breathers and drain back into the cam chest and vent to there. Then when I put the cover on, it's going to force the air to come through here and out this hole, which is not much of a baffle, but it's somewhat of a baffle to help keep the oil that's going to be coming through this area from going directly out this hose here. So now I'm going to put the cover on. All right, so here we go. We're going to place the cover. We're going to place the gasket in place. And we'll slide the cover in. It's a little tricky with this here fan. And now I can get the bolts in. Hold that down. Lock tight on the bolts. Very important. It would have been easier if I did this before the cylinders were on, but that's okay. We'll get through it. All right. Turn the screws in. All right. I'm going to run these down with this here, which you guys never saw before. Gentle. I don't like to slam the bolts down with that because it just tends to over torque them and strip them out and cause all kinds of problems that you yourself or the next guy is going to have to deal with. Always try to think about the next guy that has to work on the vehicle. Now we'll torque them. Hopefully I can get them all with this. Check these two. All right, so now that that's done, my fingerprint. Now the hose that comes off the cylinder head is going to connect here. And this here is going to come to a hose, which I'm going to show you when I get to routing that. And we're going to probably bring it through this area here and bring it back to the back of the bike. We'll put a check valve right in this area here. And I'll show you all that when we get to that point. So until next time, once the heads are on, we'll come back and finish it up. Okay, so here we go. We have the lines run for our breather system. You can come in here and see. Here is the oil line coming down from the cylinder head breathers, going into the transmission top cover. And here is a line here. This is 5/16 coming out. It comes over here. Over on this other side, you can see we're going into a check valve here, and it's allowing pressure out but not pressure in. And that just comes across here neatly and ends right here. And again, it shouldn't push out enough material to be a problem with this ending here. The problem with filters is sometimes they get really dirty or they start running around. I mean, it still can get a filter on there if need be. But that's pretty much how we ran this. You can see here where the line comes out of the back of the air filter. And goes up, kind of disappears. So it's real clean and tidy. And that there is our breathing system. So the purpose of this is to take all the oils that breathe out of the heads and get it to go back into the engine to be recirculated and help hopefully keep more of it in the engine and breathe out through the oil pan and out the back of the bike, keep it a lot cleaner, a lot less misting.